Welcome to Tuesday, April 29th for the Daily QCI. In this, our final episode in the series on adaptive strategy design. Earlier this month, we started the series. We've talked about core values, vision, mission, landscape, and now diagnostic control systems. So please check out those other episodes. Don't forget, there's a free ebook. Check it out with a link in the description. And let's get on to talking about diagnostic control systems, what they are, why we do them. Diagnostic control systems are when we put the rubber to the road. It's taking everything that we've worked on, all the strategy insights, the thoughts about the world around us, the facts that we found about the world around us, and putting those into a format that allows us to start vectoring towards our goals. That is our preferred future that we've vividly described. Now, before you think that I'm a zealot for goals, while I think they're great and they're necessary to make sure that we achieve what we want to achieve, they're not the end-all be-all. If you'd like a reference, check out Obliquity by John Kay. It's this book that kind of shaped my mind a bit about trying to use goals for pursuing everything, because some things happen despite the pursuit of a goal. They happen when we focus on behaviors or systems or environments and not a specific target. So things like happiness and love, they're about the journey, not necessarily the destination. And even profits. Sometimes the more we focus on them, the less we achieve them. Focusing on the things that result in profit, on the other hand, can obliquely get us to profits. So with that out of the way, let's talk about goals and why translating strategy to action requires goals. Goals provide direction, number one. They prioritize for us. What really matters here is that we're building a system that allows us to measure, adapt, and then correct along the way. The foundational requirements of a real diagnostic control system, you have to have clear strategic objectives. And these are coming from your vision of a preferred future. They may, or they should, incorporate your core values, making sure you're on the right track in how you accomplish those things. You need to have measurable indicators. These are, in our framework of OKRs, these are the key results. Despite what framework you use, you're going to have measurable indicators, knowing that you are making progress towards your objective or goal. You need to have consistent monitoring. The frequency of this is critical. For some things, it may be weekly. Some things, it's monthly. Some things, it's quarterly. Some things you won't know for a year. And finally, feedback loops. You have to be able to know what tweaks are having what impact. And that comes from feedback loops, whether that's from the data or from the people involved. Feedback, conversations, communications, reflections are all critical to this working. Some options you should know about before we get into the framework I like of OKRs. You could do balanced scorecard. There's a lot of material out there about balanced scorecard. It's from Kaplan and Norton, I think from the early 90s, late 80s. And they have textbooks, they have workbooks, they have guidebooks. So it's a really nice system, very comprehensive. Check that out if you'd like. Another system I learned, mentor of mine, Bob Frazier, you develop the IAP system, integrated action plans. It incorporates some things from balanced scorecard, incorporates some things from action planning. So you're really digging deep in that system into the actual steps that are necessary to accomplish each thing. There are others as well. I'm not going to get into every one. I wanted to just kind of give you a highlight of those two before we get into OKRs and what I think is the gold standard for monitoring growth and change efforts. So OKRs stands for Objectives and Key Results. It's initially made famous by Andy Grove at Intel many years ago, and then more famous from John Doerr. He has a book called Measure What Matters, but he's famous for integrating this into Google. Therefore, there are a lot of copycats, a lot of iterations. There are apps. There are a variety of things you can do to implement OKRs into your own life, whether it's a basic spreadsheet, which is my preferred method because it's easy and cheap, to paying for a subscription to a company like Lattice or Workboard or a host of others. Some highlight level key points here. Objectives are qualitative, ambitious, energizing, or inspiring. And in our framework, you're going to have an annual objective that is backed out when you back up from your 5-year vision. So you are going to have an idea of what you want to try to accomplish this year. High level, big, energizing, ambitious objective statement for the year. Under that, you're going to have key results, which are specific and measurable. These also are going to be for the year, but these are going to be things that demonstrate that you are achieving your objective. So if all the key results are achieved, then you should be able to state that the objective was achieved. Key results, you want to be thinking about outcomes. It's really easy to list key results as action steps. We want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Focus on outcomes instead. The combination of an objective with a key result is basically a goal statement. Cadence are a critical factor in OKRs. We talked about the annual. You're going to break that down into a quarterly, and this could be by department, by division, by team, a number of ways to slice this apple. What you want to do though is make sure that that quarterly OKR is an ambitious place to be to get you closer to that annual OKR. The other really important thing about OKRs, you don't have a lot of them. When you're doing your annual, I'm going to really try to get you to focus on three things. Focus on for the year. High level, under each of those 3 things, you could have a number of OKRs for each quarter based on how big your team is, how big your company is, how many departments there are. So that is really customized once you get those 3 to 5 for the. You may recall that we talked about KPIs in the last episode, just briefly at the end. Well, KPIs are different than OKRs. KPIs, key performance indicators, are how you're monitoring the health of the organization. OKRs are growth and change. KPIs are right here, right now. Are we still healthy? So it's things like revenue and overhead. KPIs are best tested through a stress test. What this means is that you want to think about what would it take for my business to fail? What are the 5 to 7 or 10 things that would have to happen for my business to fail? Those are the things that you should be monitoring as your KPIs. New customers, repeat customers, how many people are paying on time, that kind of thing. Good KPIs should kind of give you like warning signals, like dashboard lights, so you can fix problems before they're raging fires. Finally, if you didn't already gather this, all of this stuff is constantly adapted and tweaked. Your quarterly OKRs that you set, you have monthly check-ins. With those monthly check-ins, you may reorient the wording, phrasing, even an entire key result might be eliminated because you realize it was the wrong thing, the wrong metric being tracked. You can also constantly update these with new information. If something in your landscape changes, that can affect an OKR, and that's okay. That's the intention here. That's why we have a monthly check-in, a quarterly reboot, and an annual OKR. And annual planning helps with that as well. Importantly, don't weaponize your metrics. When metrics become tools for blame rather than learning, you're going to get people gaming the system and you're going to lose the real battle. Focus on closing the gap between your current reality and your preferred future, not on who has the best spreadsheet. So what you measure, you improve. We could argue that back and forth all day. Audit your current goals, OKRs, KPIs, whatever you're using. Are they helping you navigate towards your preferred future, or are they just making you feel like you're drifting towards some rocks? And don't forget about the free ebook down below. See you tomorrow.